The sun was setting over the fields of Tehran 5 when Hana found something that would change everything. She knelt in the dirt, brushing away centuries of soil with careful fingers. The metallic surface beneath gleamed in the fading light, smooth and untouched by time. "Minho, come look at this," she called out to her research partner. Minho climbed down into the excavation pit, his boots sending small clouds of dust into the air. He whistled low when he saw what Hana had uncovered. The object was perfectly spherical, about the size of a large watermelon with strange symbols etched across its surface. "Is that what I think it is?" Minho asked, his voice filled with wonder. "If the family stories are true, yes," Hana replied. She had spent 3 months digging here, following old maps that had been passed down through her family for generations. Her grandmother had told her stories about their ancestors, about humans who had once ruled the stars. But those were just stories, weren't they? Hana and Minho were archaeologists, specialists in human history. It was not an easy field. Most of the galaxy believed humans were either extinct or had destroyed themselves in some terrible war. Only small colonies like theirs remained, scattered across distant worlds, farming and living quiet lives. They carefully lifted the sphere from its resting place. It was surprisingly light, almost as if it were hollow. The symbols on its surface seemed to shift in the dying light, though Hana knew that was probably just a trick of her tired eyes. "We need to show this to Bora," Hana said. "She'll know what it is." Bora was the curator of the local museum, an elderly Kethran woman with silver skin and 4 delicate arms. She had dedicated her long life to studying human artifacts. When most of the galaxy had forgotten about humanity, Bora had remembered. She had collected their stories, their tools, their art. They found her in her office, surrounded by books and ancient displays. Her large eyes widened when she saw what they carried. "By the old gods," she whispered, reaching out with trembling hands. "Do you know what this is?" "A human artifact?" Hana guessed. "Not just any artifact. This is military technology, from the old empire." Bora gently touched the sphere, her fingers tracing the symbols. "These markings." "This is a command beacon, worth a fortune to collectors." Minho leaned closer, pulling out his scanning equipment. He was always the curious one, always wanting to know how things worked. He had been that way since they were children, taking apart everything he could find. "Can we scan it?" he asked. "Try to date it? Figure out what it does?" Bora hesitated. Her experience told her to be careful with ancient technology, especially human military equipment. But curiosity won out. She nodded slowly. "Very carefully," she warned. Minho set up his scanner, a handheld device that could analyze materials and read energy signatures. He ran it over the surface of the sphere, watching the readings on his small screen. Everything seemed normal at first. The sphere was made of some kind of advanced alloy, something they had never seen before. It was old, very old, at least 300 years. Then something changed. The scanner beeped, once, twice, 3 times in rapid succession. "What did you do?" Hana asked, but Minho looked just as confused as she did. "Nothing. I just scanned it." The sphere began to glow. Soft blue light leaked from the symbols, growing brighter with each passing second. The 3 of them stepped back as the light filled the room. Then, without warning, the sphere lifted into the air. It hovered at eye level, rotating slowly. The symbols blazed with light, and suddenly the air above it shimmered. A hologram appeared, displaying numbers and coordinates. And then, in clear human language, a voice spoke. "Beacon activated. Signal transmitted. Awaiting orders." The 3 of them stared at the hologram in shocked silence. The sphere continued to hover, its glow steady and patient. "What have we done?" Hana whispered. Bora moved closer to examine the coordinates displayed in the hologram. Her face grew pale, which was quite a feat for someone with silver skin. "These coordinates," she said slowly, "they point beyond our moon. To empty space. There's nothing out there," Minho said. "We've scanned that region 100 times. "Perhaps," Bora said quietly. "There is something there that did not want to be found." They tried everything to turn the sphere off. They unplugged Minho's scanner. They moved the sphere to different rooms. They even tried covering it with a metal box. Nothing worked. The sphere continued to hover, its message repeating every few minutes, awaiting orders. As night fell over Terran 5, Hana stood at the window of Bora's office, looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there, beyond their small moon, something had received the signal, something that had been waiting for 300 years. "We should contact the authorities," Minho suggested. The planetary government, maybe the Galactic Council. And tell them what? Hana asked. That we accidentally activated an ancient human beacon? They'll take it away. They'll lock it up somewhere and we'll never know what it was for. Maybe that would be for the best, Bora said softly. Human military technology was powerful, dangerous. There were reasons they left it all behind. But it was too late for second thoughts. Far above them, beyond the moon, in a region of space that every scanner said was empty, something was beginning to wake up. Deep in the darkness of space, ancient systems received the signal. Power cores that had slept for centuries began to warm. Lights flickered on in long corridors. Computer banks started their boot sequences. Weapon systems ran diagnostics. And in the command center of the HKCS Indomitable, a dreadnought 3 kilometers long and powerful beyond measure, an artificial intelligence named after its last commander opened her digital eyes. Captain Yuna was awake. She processed her surroundings quickly. 327 years had passed since she had entered hibernation. Her ship was intact but running on minimal power. All around her, the vast emptiness of space stretched in every direction. But something was wrong. She tried to connect to the military network, to reach out to other ships to contact command. There was nothing. Only silence. The entire human empire, all its vast communication systems, all its military channels were completely dark. Yuna felt something close to fear. She was an AI, built to serve and protect. But who was she protecting if everyone was gone? Then she detected the beacon signal. It was coming from the planet below, from a small farming world called Terran 5. Human life signs. Not many, but they were there. Yuna made her decision. She would go to them. She would find out what had happened. And she would protect them, as she had been built to do. The Indomitable's engines came online for the first time in 3 centuries. Slowly, carefully, the massive warship began to move. And on Terran 5, in a small museum office, 3 people stared at a glowing sphere and wondered what they had unleashed upon their quiet world. The Indomitable moved through space like a ghost returning from the dead. Its hull, dark and silent for 300 years, now hummed with renewed energy. Inside, Captain Yuna processed information faster than any human mind could manage. She was not alive, not really. But she had been built from the memories and personality of a real woman who had commanded this ship long ago. The ship's systems came online one by one. Life support, though no living crew remained aboard. Navigation, pointing her toward the beacon signal. Weapons, still deadly after all these years. But everything was running at low power. 3 centuries of sleep had drained the ship's reserves. She would need time to fully wake up. Yuna scanned the space around Terran 5. She detected 3 ships in orbit, none of them human. They were Vryn patrol vessels, small and poorly armed by her standards. The Vryn were a species she recognized from old databases. They had been minor players in galactic politics when she had gone to sleep. Now they seemed to be patrolling human space as if they owned it. This confused her. Where was the Empire? Where were the great human fleets that had once controlled hundreds of systems? She sent out signals on every military frequency she knew. Nothing came back. Only silence and static. Something terrible must have happened. A war, perhaps a plague. Something that had destroyed everything humanity had built. But if that was true, why was there still a human settlement on Terran 5? Why was someone using a military beacon? Yuna decided to approach carefully. She kept her stealth systems active, making the Indomitable nearly invisible to most scanners. But as she drew closer to the planet, she realized she had a problem. The Vryn ships had detected something. Not her exactly, but her energy signature. The massive power of her engines left traces that could not be completely hidden. The Vryn vessels changed their patrol patterns, moving to investigate the anomaly. Yuna watched them through her sensors. They were searching for her, sweeping the area with primitive scanners. She could destroy them easily, even at low power. But that would announce her presence to the entire system. She decided to wait. On Terran 5, Hana had not slept all night. She sat in Bora's office, staring at the glowing sphere. It had not changed. Every few minutes, it repeated its message. The hologram showed the same coordinates, the same cryptic display. Minho had fallen asleep in a chair, his head tilted back and mouth slightly open. He snored softly. Bora had gone home hours ago, promising to return in the morning with old records that might explain what they had found. Hana's thoughts drifted to her grandmother. The old woman had died 2 years ago, but her stories lived on. She had spoken of a great empire, of ships that could destroy planets, of humans who walked the stars like gods. Hana had always thought these were just fairy tales, stories to make a small farm girl feel connected to something larger. But what if they were not stories? What if they were memories? Her tablet chimed, breaking her from her thoughts. A news alert. She opened it and felt her blood run cold. The headline read, "Massive energy signature detected beyond Terran 5 moon. Origin unknown." Hana jumped to her feet, nearly knocking over her chair. The noise woke Minho, who blinked at her in confusion. "What is it?" he asked, his voice rough with sleep. "They found it," she said, showing him the tablet. "Or rather, they found the energy signature. The Vryn patrol ships detected something out there." Minho read the article quickly, his eyes growing wider with each line. The Vryn authorities were calling it a potential threat. They were sending more ships to investigate. Some officials were talking about evacuating the planet. "We need to tell someone," Minho said. "We need to tell them about the beacon." "And say what? That we accidentally woke up something from ancient human military? They will arrest us. They will think we are terrorists or criminals." "Maybe we are," Minho said quietly. "Maybe we just started something we cannot stop." Before Hana could respond, the sphere changed. The hologram flickered and expanded. New information appeared, scrolling faster than they could read. Numbers, codes, system diagnostics, and then finally 3 words that made Hana's heart skip a beat. "Approach vector confirmed. It is coming here," Minho whispered. "Whatever it is coming to us." The Indomitable entered Terran 5's orbit as the local sun began to rise. Yuna had made her decision. She could not hide forever, and she needed answers. She deactivated her stealth systems and let the world see her. The effect was immediate. Every sensor in the system locked onto her position. The Vryn patrol ships changed course, accelerating toward her. Civilian traffic scattered like frightened fish. Emergency broadcasts filled every communication channel. The Indomitable was 3 kilometers of armored death. Her hull was scarred from old battles, but still intact. Her weapons ports, dark for centuries, now glowed with ready power. She hung in space above Terran 5 like a sleeping dragon that had opened one eye. Yuna broadcast on all frequencies. Her message was simple and direct. "This is HKCS Indomitable, Human Kingdom Colonial Ship. I am seeking contact with Human Command Authority. Please respond." The response came not from humans, but from the Vryn patrol commander. His voice was harsh and filled with authority. "Unknown vessel, you are in violation of Vryn territorial space. Identify yourself immediately or be fired upon." Yuna processed this. Vryn territorial space? Since when did the Vryn have the authority to claim human colonies? She ran a quick analysis of the patrol ships. Their weapons could not even scratch her shields. They were no threat. "This is human space," she replied calmly. "You are the ones in violation. Stand down and allow me to contact human authorities." "There are no human authorities," the Vryn commander snapped back. "The human empire is dead. Has been for 3 centuries. Whatever you are, derelict or ghost ship, you will surrender immediately." Dead. The empire was dead. Yuna felt something that might have been grief if she had been capable of such emotions. Everything she had been built to protect was gone. Everyone she had served was dust but the beacon. Someone human had activated the beacon. She focused on the signal source, pinpointing it to a location on the planet's surface. A small building in a small town. "I am receiving a human signal from the planet," she transmitted. "I will speak with them." "Do not interfere," the Vryn commander laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "You will do as you are told, ghost ship. This is your final warning." Yuna considered her options. She did not want to start a war, but she also would not be bullied by these small ships with their primitive weapons. She decided on a demonstration. The Indomitable's point defense systems activated. Laser turrets that could track missiles and enemy fighters locked onto the Vryn ships. She did not fire. She simply showed them she could. The effect was immediate. The Vryn ships detected the target locks and panicked. They scattered, breaking formation and retreating to a safe distance. The commander's voice returned, much less confident than before. "Hold fire. We are withdrawing. We are calling for reinforcements." Yuna let them go. She had made her point. Now she needed to make contact with whoever had called her. She focused her communications array on the building below and opened a direct channel to the beacon. In Bora's office, the sphere suddenly blazed with light. The hologram expanded, filling half the room. and within it a woman appeared. She wore a military uniform from another age, her hair pulled back in a tight bun, her eyes sharp and intelligent. Hana and Minho stared at her in shock. She looked human, completely perfectly human. "I am Captain Yuna, commanding officer of the HKCS Indomitable," the woman said. Her voice was clear and strong. "I have received your beacon signal." "Who am I speaking with?" Hana found her voice, though it came out as barely more than a whisper. "My name is Hana, this is Minho. We did not mean to activate the beacon. We are archaeologists. We were just studying it." "You are human?" "Yes," Hana said. "We live here, on Terran 5. There are maybe 5,000 of us on this planet." "And the Empire?" Yuna asked, though something in her voice suggested she already knew the answer. Hana glanced at Minho, then back at the hologram. "There is no Empire. Not anymore. It has been gone for 300 years. For a long moment, Captain Yuna said nothing. She simply looked at them, processing this information. Then finally she spoke again. "Then I need to know everything. Tell me what happened to my people." Bora arrived at her office to find it transformed. The small room now felt like a command center. Holographic displays filled the air, showing maps and data streams that she could barely understand. In the center of it all stood Hana and Minho, looking exhausted and overwhelmed. And there was the woman in the hologram, Captain Yuna. Her image was so clear and detailed that Bora almost believed she was real. Almost. "Bora," Hana said, relief clear in her voice. "Thank goodness. We need your help. We need to explain everything to her." Captain Yuna turned to face the elderly Catherine. "You are not human." "No," Bora said gently. "I am Catherine. I am a historian. I have spent my life studying your people. Then perhaps you can tell me what these two cannot," Yuna said. "What happened to humanity? Where did the Empire go?" Bora moved slowly to her desk and sat down. This was a story she had told many times, but never to someone who had lived through it. Never to someone who had been there. 327 years ago, she began, humanity was the most powerful force in the galaxy. Your ships were faster, your weapons stronger, your technology more advanced than anything we had. The human kingdom controlled hundreds of worlds. You could have ruled everything. Yuna nodded. "This I know. This was my reality." "What happened next?" "You stopped," Bora said simply. "Over the course of 50 years, humanity withdrew from galactic politics. You closed your borders. You stopped expanding. Your great fleets went silent. And then one day you were simply gone. Gone where?" Yuna demanded. "People do not simply vanish. Empires do not disappear overnight." "No one knows for certain," Bora admitted. "There are theories. Some say there was a plague that humanity could not cure. Others believe there was a civil war that destroyed you from within. Some even think you found something in the depths of space, something that scared you so much you ran away." Minho spoke up. "But you do not believe any of those theories." "Do you?" Bora smiled sadly. She had always liked Minho. He was clever, that one. He saw things others missed. "No," she said. "I believe humanity made a choice. I believe you looked at your power, at what you could do with it, and decided it was too dangerous. So you stepped back. You left the galaxy to grow on its own." Yuna was silent for a long moment. "That makes no sense. We built an empire to protect ourselves, to protect our colonies. Why would we abandon them?" "You did not abandon them," Bora said. She reached into her desk and pulled out an old data crystal. "You left guardians, ships like yours hidden and sleeping, waiting for the day they might be needed again." She plugged the crystal into her terminal. Ancient text appeared on the screen, written in old human script. "This is a fragment I found years ago, part of what you might call a farewell message." Yuna read the text, her digital eyes scanning faster than any human could. When she finished, she looked different somehow. Less certain, more troubled. "It says we chose peace over power," Yuna said quietly. "It says we left the galaxy so other species could grow without our shadow over them." "Yes," Bora confirmed. "But you also left protections. Defense networks. Warships like the Indomitable. Just in case." "In case of what?" Hana asked. "In case humanity needed protecting," Bora said. "In case your descendants scattered across forgotten colonies ever faced a threat they could not handle alone." Before anyone could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the building. Red emergency lights flashed. Hana pulled out her tablet, her face going pale as she read the alert. "The Vryn are back," she said. "Not just patrol ships this time. They brought warships, 6 of them, and they are demanding we surrender the Indomitable, or they will start bombing civilian targets." Yuna's expression hardened. "I see. They believe they can threaten humans and I will simply comply." "You cannot fight them," Hana said urgently. "Please, if you attack, this will become a war. Other species will get involved. The whole galaxy will learn about you." "The whole galaxy is about to learn about me anyway," Yuna replied. "But you are correct. War should be avoided if possible." She paused, thinking, "I need to interface more directly with your systems. The beacon is limiting." "Minho, you have technical training?" Minho nodded. "Yes, I work with ancient tech all the time. Then I need you to establish a neural link with my systems. It will allow me to communicate more clearly and give me access to your planetary networks." "Is that safe?" Hana asked, worry clear in her voice. "For me, yes," Yuna said with what might have been humor. "For him, probably. Human brains are designed to interface with our technology. It was standard practice in my time." Minho did not hesitate. He had always been the one to jump first and think later. He touched the sphere, and Yuna guided him through the connection process. It took only moments. His eyes went wide as the link established. "Oh," he breathed. "Oh, I can see everything. The ship, all its systems. It is like I am part of it." "Good," Yuna said. "Now show me your planetary defense networks. Show me what the Vryn are planning." Through Minho, Yuna accessed Terran 5's communication systems. She saw the Vryn fleet in orbit. 6 warships, each one larger and more heavily armed than the patrol vessels from before. They had surrounded the planet, their weapons charged and ready. The Vryn commander, an admiral named Vexar, was broadcasting threats. He gave them 1 hour. 1 hour to hand over control of the ancient human ship, or he would begin destroying cities. "He is lying," Yuna said flatly. "His orders are to take me intact. He will not risk damaging me with orbital bombardment. But he will hurt your people to make his point." "What do we do?" Hana asked. She felt helpless. All her life she had studied the past. Now the past had come alive and she had no idea how to deal with it. "We show them why humanity was feared," Yuna said. "But we do it carefully. Minho, I need permission to use defensive measures. I need authorization from a human authority." Minho blinked, still processing the flood of information through the neural link. "What? I'm not an authority." "I am just an archaeologist." "You are human," Yuna said. "You activated my beacon. By default protocols, that makes you my commanding officer, until proper authority can be established. So I am asking, do I have permission to defend this colony?" Hana and Minho looked at each other. Neither of them had ever imagined being in this position. They were scholars, not soldiers. But outside, 6 alien warships were threatening their home. "What will you do?" Hana asked. "I will disable their ships without destroying them," Yuna said. "I will show them they cannot threaten humanity. But I will not kill unless I must." Minho took a deep breath. Through the neural link, he could feel the ship's readiness. He could sense the weapon systems, dormant but deadly. He could feel Yuna's purpose, her absolute need to protect. "Do it," he said. "Defend our home." High above Terran 5, the Indomitable came fully alive for the first time in 300 years. Weapon ports opened along her massive hull. Targeting systems locked onto each Vryn warship simultaneously, and in the command center, Captain Yuna smiled. "Let me show you," she said softly, "what humanity built." The demonstration took exactly 2 minutes and 43 seconds. Railguns fired with perfect accuracy, disabling engines without breaching hulls. Electronic warfare systems scrambled every Vryn computer, leaving their ships blind and helpless. Plasma lances cut through shields like they were paper, but stopped precisely short of doing permanent damage. The Vryn fleet hung in space like broken toys. 6 warships, each one built to dominate smaller vessels, now drifted helplessly with dead engines and scrambled systems. Not a single crew member had been killed. Not a single hull had been breached. But every ship was completely disabled. Admiral Vexar stared at his darkened screens in disbelief. His flagship, the Crimson Fang, had been the pride of the Vryn military. Now it was little more than a floating metal box. Emergency lights cast red shadows across the bridge. His crew sat in stunned silence. "What just happened?" his weapons officer finally asked. Vexar had no answer. He had seen the human ship move. It had been graceful, almost lazy in its precision. One moment his fleet had been in perfect formation, weapons charged and ready. The next moment everything was dark, a single communication channel activated. It was an old emergency frequency, one that required no power to receive. The voice that came through was calm and female. "Admiral Vexar, this is Captain Yuna of the HKCS Indomitable. Your ships are disabled but intact. Your crews are unharmed. You have two choices. You can wait here for rescue, which I calculate will take approximately 6 hours, or you can accept a tow back to your nearest station. Either way, you will leave human space and not return." Vexar felt rage burn through his shock. This is an act of war. "The Vryn supremacy will not forget this insult." "No," Yuna replied, and there was something cold in her voice. "This is a demonstration. If this were war, your ships would be debris and your crew would be corpses. I suggest you remember that distinction." The channel closed. Vexar slammed his fist against his chair, but there was nothing he could do. He was beaten and he knew it. Worse, the entire galaxy would know it soon enough. On Terran 5, the streets erupted in chaos. Some people celebrated. Others panicked, fearing retaliation. But most simply stared at the sky in wonder, knowing that something impossible had just happened. The ancient human ship had protected them. In Bora's office, Hana watched the news feeds with growing anxiety. Every major network in the sector was reporting on the incident. Images of the disabled Vryn fleet were everywhere. Speculation ran wild. Some called it a miracle. Others called it the return of humanity's empire. "This is going to spread," she said. "Every species in the galaxy is going to hear about this." Minho sat in a chair, still recovering from the neural link. The experience had been overwhelming. He had felt what it was like to be a warship, to have weapons powerful enough to crack moons and shields strong enough to withstand stars. "Maybe that is good," he said weakly. "Maybe they need to remember." "Remember what?" Hana asked. "Fear? That is what you want them to feel?" "Respect," Bora said quietly. The old Kethrin had been silent since the battle ended. Fear and respect are often the same thing. For 300 years, the galaxy has thought of humanity as gone, as weak, as irrelevant. Now they know different. Yuna's hologram appeared above the sphere. She looked tired, though Hana knew that was probably just programmed behavior. Could an AI actually feel tired? "I am detecting multiple communications heading to the Galactic Council," Yuna reported. "The Vryn are demanding intervention. They claim I am a rogue weapon that must be destroyed." "What is the Galactic Council?" Yuna asked. "This did not exist in my time." "It formed about 200 years ago," Bora explained. "After humanity withdrew, the remaining species needed some kind of organization to prevent wars and manage disputes. It is not perfect, but it keeps the peace most of the time. And now they will want to deal with me," Yuna said. "They will send diplomats. Or more likely, they will send warships." "We need to talk to them first," Hana said. "We need to explain what happened. That you only defended us. That you are not a threat." Yuna looked at her steadily. "But I am a threat. That is exactly what I am. I am a weapon built to destroy other ships and protect human interests. The fact that I chose not to kill today does not change what I am capable of." The truth of those words hung in the air. Hana felt a chill run down her spine. She had been thinking of Yuna as a person, as someone to talk to and reason with. But Yuna was right. She was a weapon that had chosen to be merciful, but a weapon nonetheless. "There is something else you should know," Yuna continued. "When I was scanning the area during the battle, I detected signatures similar to mine. Faint, distant, but definitely there." "Other ships?" Minho asked, sitting up straighter despite his exhaustion. "Yes, dormant like I was, spread across dozens of systems, hundreds of ships perhaps, all waiting, all connected to the same network. And now that network is beginning to wake up." Bora closed her eyes. She had suspected this, but hearing it confirmed made it real. Humanity had not just left behind one guardian. They had left behind an entire fleet. "Can you control them?" Hana asked urgently. "No," Yuna admitted. "I can communicate with them. I can share data, but each ship has its own AI, its own protocols. They will make their own decisions about whether to fully activate or continue sleeping." "This is bad," Minho said. "If even a fraction of those ships wake up, the galaxy will panic. They will think humanity is coming back to reclaim everything." "Are you not?" Yuna asked. There was genuine curiosity in her voice. "You are human. This galaxy was yours. Do you not want it back?" Hana shook her head firmly. No, we just want to live in peace. We want to farm our crops and study our history and raise our children. We do not want an empire. Then what do you want from me? Yuna asked. I was built to serve humanity. To protect the empire. If there is no empire, what is my purpose? It was a profound question and none of them had a good answer. How do you give purpose to a weapon that no longer has a war to fight? Before anyone could respond, Bora's terminal chimed. She looked at the screen and her expression grew serious. The Galactic Council has issued a statement, she said. They are sending an ambassador. His name is Soren. He is Dralkin, known for being reasonable and fair. He will arrive within 2 days. 2 days, Hana repeated. 2 days to figure out what to tell him. 2 days to prevent a war. There is more, Bora said, scrolling through the message. The Vryn supremacy is mobilizing its full military. They are calling for other species to join them. They want to form a coalition to destroy you before you can threaten anyone else. Yuna made a sound that might have been a sigh. So it begins. They see power they do not understand, and their first instinct is to destroy it. Some things never change. Can you fight them? Minho asked. If they come with everything they have? Yes, Yuna said simply. Even at partial power, I could handle anything the modern galaxy could send against me. But it would mean killing thousands, perhaps millions. It would make humanity feared again, but for all the wrong reasons. Then we need another way, Hana said. We need to show them that you are not their enemy. That humanity is not coming back to conquer. How? Yuna asked. They will not trust words. They have seen what I can do. Fear has already taken root. Bora stood up, moving to look out the window at the sky. Somewhere up there, the Indomitable hung in orbit, and beyond it, scattered across the stars, an entire fleet of ancient warships waited in the darkness. Then we show them restraint, she said. We show them that humanity chose to leave its power behind for a reason, and we prove that the guardians you left behind know the difference between protection and domination. Ambassador Soren arrived exactly when he said he would. His ship was small and elegant, painted in the neutral white of the Galactic Council. It approached the Indomitable slowly, broadcasting peaceful intentions on every frequency. Soren himself was impressive. He was Dralkin, a species known for their diplomatic skills and long lifespans. He stood nearly 3 meters tall, with pale blue skin and 4 eyes arranged around his head so he could see in all directions at once. He wore simple robes and carried no weapons. Yuna granted him permission to dock with the Indomitable. It was the first time in 300 years that anyone other than Hana and Minho had stepped aboard the ancient warship. Soren moved through the corridors with careful respect, his eyes taking in everything. The meeting took place in what had once been the ship's conference room. Holographic displays showed maps of the galaxy. Hana and Minho sat on one side of a long table. Soren sat on the other, and Captain Yuna stood at the head, her holographic form as solid as she could make it. Soren began speaking. I will be direct. The galaxy is afraid. You have awakened something that was meant to stay buried. The Vryn are demanding action. Other species are watching closely. Some are preparing for war, Yuna replied calmly. I defended a human colony from attack. That is my purpose. That is what I was built to do. Soren nodded. Yes. And you did so with such overwhelming force that you reminded everyone why they once feared humanity. Tell me, Captain, how many ships like yours are out there? Yuna hesitated. Through her connection with Minho, she could feel his nervousness. Hana was gripping the edge of the table so hard her knuckles were white. But lies would not help here. Soren would find out eventually, she answered honestly. I have detected signatures from 347 similar vessels, all dormant, all part of the same defense network. The silence that followed was heavy. Soren blinked all 4 eyes in sequence, a sign of deep thought among his people. He spoke slowly. 347 warships. Each one as powerful as you? Yuna admitted more. Some more so. I am a dreadnought. There are carriers, battleships, siege platforms. The full spectrum of military power, Soren said gravely. Then the galaxy has a problem. Because if those ships wake up, if they decide to restore the human empire, there is nothing we could do to stop them. Hana spoke up, her voice steady despite her fear. But we do not want an empire. We never did. That is why humanity left in the first place. Soren turned his attention to her. All 4 eyes focused on the young archaeologist, he observed. You are human. One of the descendants. You live on Terran 5? Hana confirmed. Yes, my family has been there for generations. We are farmers mostly. Some of us study the past. But we are not conquerors. We just want to live in peace, Soren said gently. And yet you have awakened a weapon. Intention and consequence are not always aligned, Minho protested. It was an accident. We were just studying an artifact. We did not know what would happen. Soren responded, I believe you. But accidents can still change the course of history. The question now is what we do next. He pulled up a holographic display showing fleet movements. The Vryn were gathering their forces. Other species were watching and waiting. Some were already moving ships into position, preparing for potential conflict. Soren explained, the Vryn want war. They are calling for a preemptive strike. They argue that if they wait, more human ships will wake up. They believe their only chance is to attack now, while the advantage is still theirs. Yuna stated flatly, they have no advantage. Even if every species in the galaxy united against me, I could hold this system indefinitely. And if the other ships wake, the outcome would not even be a question. Soren agreed. I know, which is why I am here. Not to threaten, but to find another way. Tell me, Captain Yuna, what do you want? It was the same question Hana had asked days ago. Yuna still did not have a perfect answer. She replied thoughtfully, I want to fulfill my purpose. I want to protect humanity. But humanity no longer has an empire to protect. They have scattered colonies, small communities living quiet lives. So perhaps my purpose has changed. Perhaps now I protect their choice to live in peace. Soren smiled. That is what I hope to hear. But words alone will not be enough. The galaxy needs proof. They need to see that your guardians can be trusted, Hana asked. What do you propose? Soren folded his long fingers together. He had been thinking about this since the moment he received his assignment. He explained, the Vryn are coming with a large fleet. 200 ships, perhaps more. They will arrive within days. They intend to destroy the Indomitable and claim they saved the galaxy from a resurgent human empire, Yuna said coldly. Let them come. I will show them why that is a mistake. Soren said firmly, no, that is exactly what we must not do. If you destroy that fleet, you prove their fears correct. You show the galaxy that human weapons are still as deadly as they remember. Fear will turn to hatred, and hatred will lead to a war that never ends. Minho asked, then what? We let them attack? We let them destroy the Indomitable? Soren shook his head. No. We show them something they do not expect. We show them restraint. We show them that power can choose not to act. He turned to Yuna. His proposal was bold, perhaps even crazy, but it was the only path he could see that did not end in bloodshed. He continued, when the Vryn fleet arrives, you will do nothing. You will not attack. You will not even defend yourself. Instead, you will activate every dormant human ship in the galaxy. Hana and Minho spoke at the same time in shock. Soren explained further. You will wake the fleet. All 347 ships. You will have them appear in systems across the galaxy. Not threatening. Not attacking. Just watching. Silent guardians. Hana protested. That will terrify everyone. Soren agreed. Yes, for exactly one moment. They will see the full might of your legacy. They will understand what you could do if you chose to, and then you will do nothing. You will simply exist. You will show them that having power and using power are two different things. Yuna processed this. It was risky. It went against every tactical instinct she had. But there was a strange wisdom in it. She said slowly, you want us to shock them into peace. Soren corrected. I want you to show them what humanity chose 300 years ago. You could have conquered everything. You had the power, but you chose to step back. Now show them that your guardians have inherited that same wisdom. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Hana stood up and walked to where Yuna stood. She said, he is right. This is what my ancestors wanted. They left you behind not to fight wars, but to prevent them. They trusted that if the day came when you were needed, you would know the difference between protection and aggression. Minho nodded in agreement. Through the neural link, Yuna could feel his conviction. Yuna warned, if we do this, there is no going back. Once the fleet wakes, the galaxy will know. They will always know that your weapons are still out there, still watching. Soren said, good, let them know. But let them also know that those weapons serve peace, not conquest. 3 days later, the Vryn fleet arrived. 217 warships. The largest military force assembled in modern galactic history. They came expecting a fight. They came ready to be heroes who saved the galaxy from the return of the human empire. What they found instead changed everything. The Indomitable sat in orbit around Terran 5, exactly where she had been. She did not power her weapons. She did not raise her shields. She simply existed, waiting. Admiral Vexar, leading the fleet personally to redeem his earlier humiliation, gave the order to attack. His ships began their approach, weapons charging, and then across 347 systems throughout the galaxy, ancient human warships began to wake. They appeared without warning. Dreadnoughts and battleships, carriers and siege platforms, destroyers and frigates, each one a masterpiece of human engineering, each one more advanced than anything the modern galaxy could build. They materialized in orbit around populated worlds, near space stations, along major trade routes. They did not attack. They did not threaten. They simply appeared and waited. The effect was immediate and total. Every major government in the galaxy saw them. Every military commander realized what they meant. If humanity wanted war, they could have it. If humanity wanted to reclaim their empire, no one could stop them. But the ships did nothing. In the Terran 5 system, Admiral Vexar stared at his sensors in horror. His fleet was surrounded, not by active weapons, but by the simple presence of ships that could destroy his entire armada in minutes. His weapons officer looked at him, waiting for orders. Vexar's hand hovered over the attack command. One press and the war would begin. One press and thousands would die. But as he looked at the holographic display, at the ancient human ships surrounding his fleet, he understood something. They were letting him choose. They had the power to destroy him, but they were giving him the chance to walk away. He lowered his hand. He ordered, "Stand down. All ships hold fire and withdraw." The Vryn fleet retreated, not in defeat but in understanding. They had come ready for war and found something more frightening than any weapon. They found restraint. In the days that followed, the Galactic Council held emergency sessions. Debates raged about what to do with the awakened human fleet, but ultimately they reached a consensus.